Building a six-figure school community comes down to two things. Number one, how well you get people into your community. And number two, how well you keep people in your community. Now in this video, I'm going to be going through exactly how to keep people in your community. So once you have a few customers and have a few clients and have a few members in your community, how would you keep them there? And how would you make sure that they never leave and they pay you every single month on repeat? And if you can master this, if you can master keeping people in your community, then you can expect results like the ones you see on screen right now. However, if you fail to master this, then people are just going to keep on leaving your community, and you're going to have the headache of constantly having to get new people in the community every single month, and that's just going to be stressful for you, your business, and your employees. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the framework that I teach my customers and my clients in order to keep people in their community and create this thriving community that lasts forever. So I was talking to one of my customers and he said to me, I can't keep people in my community. He said, I get people in there, but people start to leave every single month, and he's just constantly chasing new people, making more ads, making more YouTube videos, constantly funneling new people in the community. But the community was just on the back end leaking. And it was as if he had this big bucket of water, but there was holes in the bottom of the bucket. So every time he would add some more water to the top of the bucket, more water would just pour out through the holes in the bottom. And there was this constant flow and this system of people coming in and leaving and people coming in and leaving. And it was very stressful for this guy. So I thought to myself, okay, let me go away, let me try and solve your problem, and I'll be back with you with the answer. So what I did was I sat down and I thought to myself, let's think of real life communities. Let's think, in my lifetime, when have I had the strongest community? When have I done something because of the community? Now, the first thing that came to my mind was when I was in school. Now, in school, I wasn't too bad. I didn't love school by any means, but I still went every single day. And I began to think to myself, why did I go to school every day? Was it because I really, really wanted to learn mathematics and English and science and history? Was it because I really enjoyed those teachings, those lectures? Not really. I wasn't bad at maths. I was quite good at every subject in school, but I didn't necessarily wake up every morning and think, wow, I can't wait to learn history today, or I can't wait to learn about rocks in geography today. I never thought that to myself, unless it was physical education. I enjoyed playing football, I enjoyed playing rugby. But every other subject I thought, I didn't wake up every day wanting to go to school and learning about these subjects. So why did I go? Why did I wake up every day, put my uniform on, and walk to school, and stay there all day, and come home at the same time every day? Why did I do that? Why did I do that for 15 years straight? And I thought to myself, well, why did I go to school? If it wasn't for the lessons, what was it for? It was for the people there. It was for my friends. It was so that I could go in every morning to the registration class and see my best friend and give him a high five and talk about, I don't know, the FIFA game that I played last night or the Fortnite game that I won last night. And we can have a chat and we can catch up. And then I went to mathematics, and I remember sitting next to my best friend in maths. And yeah, we were quite good at maths, but still, I enjoyed the chats that we had. And then I went to English, and I enjoyed the chats that I had with the boys there. I remember sitting on a table of four we were all kind of, mischievous, and we wouldn't really listen to the teacher. And then I went to the next lesson, I realised we had a supply teacher, so it was going to be a fun lesson with the boys. But it always revolved around my friends. It always revolved around the people there, the community. So I wrote all this down, I journaled it, and I thought, can I relate this to a school community? Well, let me think if this applies somewhere else as well. And I remembered another time in my life where I really had a good community, and that was football. I remember turning up to play football, to train football, and every week I would turn up and play football. Now, the reason wasn't because I absolutely loved playing football. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed playing football. But I remember a time where I would play football for a different team, and I wasn't as friendly with the people there. I didn't get along with the coach as well, and the guys there, we just didn't really relate. They were kind of a little bit cocky, they were a little bit older than me, so I was kind of a loner. I was on my own in this team, and I didn't really enjoy playing football. I fell out of love with football. But then I went to this different team where all my friends played for, and I started to love football again. Every Saturday morning I woke up, I couldn't wait to go and play football. every Tuesday and Thursday evening. I couldn't wait to train football. But it was because of my friends. It was because of the people there. It was because of the relationships I had built with the people who also played football. And what this meant was that even though we had a shared goal in both situations, for the team that I didn't like playing for and the team that I did like playing for, even though the objective was to win the game, so we had the same shared goal, I didn't enjoy when I didn't have friends. And I did enjoy when I did have friends. And what was cool about that was that I noticed I started to play better, and hence the team did better, and we won more games when we were all friendly with each other, rather than when we were, some people were friends, some people weren't friends. We had some outsiders like myself in the team. We didn't win as many games. We weren't as good at football. And I thought, wow, this relates perfectly to an online community. And this is where I see many, many community owners going wrong. So here is what my client was doing, and what I think most people are doing with a community. They're getting people in a community, and they're creating courses, they're creating products, they're giving out all this value and all this information, maybe every single day. And they keep giving this value, they keep giving this information, they keep giving more tips. But people are still leaving. People aren't appreciating the value. And this is what I realized for my client that he was doing as well. He was constantly giving new information and new value to these people, but they don't want that. Like I said, when I was going to school, I kept on getting new information and new value from my teachers, but that's not why I went to school. That's not why I turned up to school every day. I turned up because of the relations that I built with the people around me. And I think that's exactly what you need to do in your online communities as well. Because the strength of a community is dependent on the strength of the bonds between the members. So unless you are doing something that helps your members bond together and form relationships, then your community is always going to churn out people. People have no reason to stay. It's like people going to school but having no friends there. It's like me playing in that football team with no friends. Even though I had a goal to win the football game and I enjoyed playing football, I didn't have anyone to do it with. I didn't enjoy going, and therefore I quit and I left. And I went to somewhere where I did have friends and I could get along with people. So what does this mean in practicality for you? How do you actually apply this to your school community? How do you keep people in your community by building stronger bonds? Well, there's a couple of practical ways to do this, and one which I really like is having accountability partners. So every time that someone comes into your community, you offer them an accountability partner. So what this means in practicality is that you'll make a post and you'll say, telling your members, okay, post where you live, what time zone you're in, and what your biggest goals are, and how much time you have per week. And then someone else will reach out to you and say, yo, I live in the same country, I live in the same time zone, I have similar goals, let's be accountability partners. And what that means is that they can meet maybe every Sunday evening, and then every Sunday and Wednesday evening, and then eventually, if they get on well enough, they can meet every evening over the internet and share their goals, share their failures, share their tips, share their tricks, and just genuinely talk about life. And what this is going to do is build connections and build bonds. And maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe they don't like each other, or they find that their goals are a bit too different, or that one's too busy for the other one. Maybe one guy works night shifts, one guy works morning shifts, and they don't overlink properly or whatever. Then they can find someone else to be accountability partners. But that's still building bonds. It's building relationships between members. And I remember playing football, and my best friends were playing for the same team as me. I would never leave that team, even if it was a better team, even if they were, offering me more money to play. I wouldn't go because my friends were there, because my friends were the connections that I had built and the relationships that I built, and you couldn't really put a price on that friendship. Now, the second thing that you can do is tell people to just introduce themselves. As soon as they join the community, tell them to make a post introducing themselves, what their goals are, and people will reach out, people will message, and they'll share their goals, they'll share their wins, they'll share their failures, and they'll share their stories with each other. And this again is improving the bonds between relationships and the bonds between your members. The third thing that you can do is have weekly calls or regular calls where people can talk to each other, chime in, ask each other questions. And this is kind of like being in a classroom, right? It's like going to school, being in a classroom, but you're free to talk amongst the people. So whether someone might be too nervous to reach out one-to-one to be accountability partners with someone, you can do it in a group setting where it's a lot more comfortable and everyone is chatting. And then someone could say something that you like and you message them after it, or you join a call just one-to-one after it, and then they start to build relationships based off that call that you did. So you're putting systems in place, you're doing things to increase the relationships between your members. Instead of constantly focusing on giving more value, more advice to your members, that's not what they want. They want to build strong relationships with each other. And a couple of ways you can do that, like I said, is accountability, group calls, seminars, live calls, getting people to interact with each other, text each other, comment on each other's post, and similar goals, similar interests, similar life stories, similar locations on the map. And then you can link these people together, get them to bond with each other, and get them to form these relationships. And once you've got these people formed relationships, once you've got people who are genuinely friends or business partners or life partners or relationship partners, the incentive for them to stay in the community is so much higher. And I've had clients where their customers, their members of the community will say, I will never leave this community because of this person, this person, this person. Like this community is invaluable. The relationship I've built with this person is invaluable. Therefore, I will never leave the community. And that's the results that you can expect when you start to build these stronger bonds between members of the community. So just to summarize quickly, the importance of keeping people in your community is huge, right? If you keep on losing people out of your community, then you're never going to build a thriving, successful community, and you're not going to be able to scale to the monthly income or the monthly members that you truly want. Number 2, people stay in the communities because of the bonds that they form with people, not necessarily just the information and the value that you give them. Sure, the value that you give them helps, they still want to solve a problem, but that is not the sole purpose that they stay in the community. They join the community to solve a problem, but they stay in the community because of the relationships that they build between people. Number 3, the easiest way to build relationships between people is have accountability partners. Set people up with each other, as if it's like a fucking blind date room, right? Where they have 30 seconds to quickly go through each person and see how they get on, see how they relate. If they're from the same time zone, if they have similar goals, link them together, partner them up, and tell them to try out being accountability partners. If that doesn't work, then you can always have seminars and live recordings and get people to interact and chime in and talk to each other there as well, or to comment on each other's posts and share values and wins. So now that you know exactly how to keep people in your community, I've given you a nice bit of practical advice there, as well as the theory behind it, using my school and my football team as an example. I hope that was valuable for you and you can now see the vision. But remember, at the start of the video I said that there's 2 ways that you build a community, and the second way was to keep people in, which we've just discussed here. But the first way was to get people into your community. Now, if you want to know exactly how to actually get people into your community, then you can click the video on screen now, and I'll walk you through exactly how to funnel people into your community.